Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, we are leading with a discussion on the fate of some of the End Bad Governance protests who were charged in Kaduna. It turns out that after spending over 60 days in detention, the government filed to drop the charges. And so today, we want to hear the story of one of the young Nigerians who have gone through this experience. And so I have with me today Mr. Khalid Aminu, a young Nigerian engineer based in Kaduna, who was actually in detention for 68 days. Khalid, welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And to his immediate right is Mr. Ibrahim Wali. Mr. Ibrahim Wali is the attorney for Khalid and some of the other defendants in the case. So let's just start like this, just so our audience can understand what it is. So there was this End Bad Governance protest in August. You were part of the organizers in Kaduna now. So take it from there. What happened to you?
Okay, it was the third day for the protest, for the End Bad Governance protest, day 3. And I came out, I met some people out, like some of my co-organizers. And we got to talking. We saw people like out protesting and all. And I was like, these guys are doing it all the wrong way. So we were speaking, I was asking him.
What were they doing wrong way?
I mean, some of those out were holding sticks and
okay.
Yeah. And I was like, how can we sanitize this? I was speaking to my friend. So we got to discussion, then we finally concluded that the best way or the best thing to do was maybe get some loud voice so that you can actually get the message out there so that people, because in as much as we want to believe that people know how these things work, how they need to protest, sadly, most people don't. So I felt and assumed that as my task to actually enlighten my fellow young Nigerians on how to go about peaceful protest. And that was how we decided to get a DJ.
This was on day
3.
Day 3.
Yes. So that was how we decided to get a DJ and get some speakers and mics.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that day 3?
On that day 3. And then a small truck that will convey those items.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was holding the mic and the sound was a bit louder so people can hear out the message I was passing. And the message was, this is how you are supposed to protest. You don't need any weapon. You don't need to insult anyone. You don't need to vandalize anything. Just bring out your message. Bring your placards. If you don't have placards, you can take maybe leaves. Write your message on your placards, what you want the government to do for you. And that was what we were doing on the 3rd of August. And we started, we walked about some 10-15 kilometers.
And which area in Kaduna was this?
That was from Ongoma Azu down to Stadium Roundabout, to Ahmadu Bello Way, then down to Nepa Roundabout.
Okay.
And we were passing all security agents. We passed police, we passed soldiers, we passed cadres, we even passed the common citizens. And all we were seeing were applauds. The police were applauding us. Like, this is how people are supposed to go about their peaceful protests. Like, you are not supposed to disturb anyone. We were properly organized and we were going and passing all these security agencies.
Was it a live crowd by now?
Yeah, as we were moving, the crowd was picking up.
Okay.
So, to our surprise, we passed Stadium Roundabout. Then we were on our way to Nepa Roundabout. We got there. It's like the They were waiting for us there.
Who?
The DSS.
Okay.
Yes. They blocked us at the NEPA roundabout and they parked all of us. I think they came with about more than 10 Hilux and SUVs. They parked all of us.
How many of you would you estimate?
I think they parked about 11 or 12
Okay.
at that moment to their office.
And so what happened to the car, that you used to?
They parked
compare?
everything. They
Okay.
parked those of us they could get. They parked all of us. They parked the car, parked the speakers, parked everyone they could get. And then they drove us down to their command.
Okay. Did you notice during the procession, through some of those streets that you mentioned, that there were people in the crowd that were waving flags and, as it was alleged in the charge?
No, there wasn't. Actually, it was until we got out. That was about 2 weeks ago that I heard of the Russian flag.
So you didn't see anybody flying the flag among the people that were in your own crowd?
Not even among my people. Like all over Nigeria, on the third day, that was 3rd August,
right,
there was nothing like a Russian flag or anything like that. That was until the next week. I think that was on 5th or 6th was when the Russian thing picked up.
Happened. Okay, so that was the day they arrested you.
Yes.
And since that day, they kept you for the 68 days.
Since that day.
That was August.
August 3rd.
So that was August 3rd.
August 3rd.
So they kept you in detention from that day till when?
From August 3rd to this month, 17th of this month.
October 17th.
Yes.
Wow. So you were in detention, and 3 of you.
Not 3 of us.
Because I saw that in the charge, it's actually 3 of you that dropped the charges.
While we were in detention, like they kept bringing in more and more and more people.
Okay.
So the number accumulates to about 39 of us.
Okay. And you were detained in the premises of DSS, not the police?
No, DSS.
So for the 68 days, you were in the custody of the DSS?
For the 68 days, no, minus 1 week.
Okay, so where were you in that 1 week?
1 week we went to the correctional facility in Kaduna because then we were taken to court.
Okay.
And the case was adjourned. That was on 10th.
10th of?
10th of this month.
October. So
Yes.
that 1 week was when the thing was coming to an end?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So just so we understand what happened, so you were picked up on the 3rd of August,
Yeah.
and then you didn't get your freedom back until this month, that's October.
Yes.
This month. All right. So let's take it to the attorney, and then we'll come back to you. So in terms of the law, in your view, was there any justification for the arrest and detention for that long? Because at least, I think most Nigerians understand that if you're arrested within 48 hours, you have to be charged and stuff like that. So tell us, so what happened in terms of the law, and what ought to have happened?
Thank you for having me. First of all, I would have to say unequivocally that there was no justification for even arresting them ab initio. That is even before the detention itself. But obviously they have the right as a government agency that operates under the law to arrest and investigate upon probable cause. But the Constitution is clear that when you arrest a person within 24 hours, you ought to take the person to court. And where you don't have a court within a 40-kilometer radius of the precinct, then you have 48 hours. So that was the first infringement. Obviously, there were many infringements by law. The same Constitution, within 24 hours, you ought to have been told what offense you have been committed, and you ought to have been extended your rights to contact your relatives, your representative, and everything that the law provides for which it wasn't provided to them.
So they weren't told what they did wrong.
Not within the time that the law prescribes. Yes. The Administration of Criminal Justice Act goes further to say that, okay, where you need to investigate further, you can get a remand order for 14 days. You ought to have filed a motion ex parte and forms, and then, show probable cause, and the court is going to give you 14 days for remand to carry out your investigation. Where you still need more time, you make the same application again, and then the court would give you 14 more days. And then there is a third 14 days as well. So you only have this window for 3 times.
Right.
So even after the third 14 days, they didn't release them, they didn't take them to court, they didn't communicate to anybody, and they didn't allow them communicate. But even the first 14 days or the first, second, and third, this is just me, saying what the law is, but we haven't seen any remand order to that effect, in fact, gotten from the court. And we had applied to the magistrate court, to the state high courts, to the federal high courts in Kaduna, and none of them had any, case file of that nature that, they gave a remand order legally. But also outside of that, after so much pressure, they decided to, take them to court on the 3rd of October.
Which was now like after 50 days.
Way after 67 days or so. 3rd of October.
Sorry, Anthony. So they were in detention without any charge.
Without any charge that we knew of or that they knew of.
For almost 60 days.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so after pressure, a lot of pressure, especially from his father, they decided to take them to court on the 3rd of October. On the 3rd of October, we were in court, but due to some internal problems, they could not bring them to court. Although we were in court and the court sat, so we...
On the 3rd of October?
On the 3rd of October. So we got a date for the 10th of October. We filed our application for bail. On the 10th of October, they brought them to court. They read the charge to them. That was when I was able to see the charge for the first time myself. They read the charge to them. They pleaded not guilty.
That was on the
10th. On the 10th.
But they had released them on the 7th.
7th?
Yeah, did we get it right? 17th.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
I wanted to clear that. All right.
Yes. So we filed, we moved this bail application. They filed a counter affidavit and we replied on point of law. And the court adjourned the matter to the 17th for the ruling on his bail application. Naturally, when you arraign a person, the prosecution usually prays that the court remands the person in the correctional facility.
Yeah.
And that was why they were now sent to the correctional facility,
okay.
Which obviously is probably a lot easier to live in than the DSS detention center itself. It is inhumane. It is it's not fit for purpose. I think it is designed to demoralize and break you down physically, spiritually as well. But yes, so on the 17th, when we went to court to get his ruling on the bail application and also to apply for the other defendants because we had filed their bail application as well.
Right.
They now came in, the prosecution, and obviously applied to the court to withdraw
the charges.
Right. We were ready to go to trials because we saw the proof of evidence and they didn't have anything but their confessional statements and they didn't confess. They said clearly that, it was a peaceful protest and everything that they did was within the law. Protest is legal, by the way, and the court said in AMPP versus the IGP that it is indeed the responsibility of the security operatives, that is DSS, police, whatever it is, to protect the protesters while they are protesting and also protect the lives and properties of citizens who aren't part of the protest. So even if you are to, embark on a protest and then, maybe there are some miscreant or maybe, some rioters, it is still the duty of the police
to protect you.
Not the rioters. So they failed in that duty and they want to transfer.
The protesters.
Not the protesters, rather. Yeah, so they failed in that duty. Not the protesters. The riot is just an example. I don't think that there was any riot, but just as an example, if there may be vandalism or destruction of property or life, whatever it is the duty of the police or the security operatives to prevent that, not that of the protesters.
I see your point.
Yes, if you look at the charge sheet, they claim that, they went out without lawful authority. In that same case, the court made it very clear, and it even struck down some provisions of the Public Orders Act that you don't need an authority to exercise a fundamental right. Yes. So,
protest.
Yes.
All right. So let me come back to Khalid. So, Khalid, you are an engineer. For how long have you practiced as an engineer?
I've been in practice for about 9 years now.
Okay. So, what is your experience in detention for over 60 days? Can you tell Nigerians, can you describe what happened to you?
Well, there are some drawers that you really don't want to go back to unless it's necessary. And in this case it is, because what I went through, what we went through was inhumane. I can't even begin to tell you everything. I can just tell you a few things, and then you can put the pieces together. So that day, on the 3rd, they arrested us at the NEPA roundabout. There and then they started beating us. There and then. Boots, kicks, all that. Then they push all of us some into hillocks, some into the boots, some into the SUVs. Then we went down to the command. When we got there, the first thing I received was a strong cane, like it was an armored cable they used. I still have marks. If I pull off my shirt, you would see.
Wow.
Yes. So they started hitting me. One of them packed me. I was flat down. They were just plastering me with all sort of canes, sticks, cable housing, armored cables, everything you can think of. And then they asked me to walk. I walked down to like a garden. There's this grass you normally see outside that looks like a grass. What is it called?
Lemon carpet grass.
Like a grass carpet.
Oh, okay.
Yes, It's a normal grass, but it's very sharp.
It's artificial.
Yes. No, not the artificial one.
Grass.
It's natural grass.
Okay.
Yeah, it's natural grass, but it's not the usual grass carpet.
Okay.
Yes. So they asked us to pull our shirts. I pulled my shirt, and they asked me to lie down. They asked all of us to lie down. We're lying down, and they put on water.
This was
that was same day. That was same
the same day you were arrested.
Yes.
This was at the DSS premises.
At the DSS premises.
And it was outside.
It was not outside, inside the premises.
Inside the premises, but
yes.
Was it an open place?
Yes, open place.
That this particular was taking place. All
yes.
Right.
And it was about 15, 20 of them there.
So they asked you to remove your shirts and then lie on this
sharp grass,
and then pour water on you.
Pouring water on me, hitting me at the same time.
That would be torture.
It is torture.
And then they asked me to be rolling on the grass at the same time. I was rolling from end to end. When I got to this end, then I'll roll back to
with water on your body.
With water on my body.
And without hard grass.
This was hard grass.
Sharp. So it will be pinching you as you roll it.
Yes. And all sort of insects were on this grass. So it was double penetration.
How many of you were
yeah, about the first batch that we were arrested, about 12. Oh yeah.
At the same time, you lie on different edges of the
different edges. Like it's a big space. We were rolling, and they were hitting us with armored cables, cable housing. It was terrible. Like I have never seen anything like that before. And that continued for some like an hour.
You did that for like an hour.
For an hour.
I see your point.
Yes. And then they asked us to crawl. And there was a drainage, a gutter. We were crawling inside that gutter. And then we came out. Then they asked us to lie down and be looking at the sun.
Wow.
For another 1 hour. We were there.
God.
And then when they were done for the day, they packed all of us and put us into a room. And we were sitting on tiles. That was how I slept. Then I put back my shirt, which was soaked. And that was how I slept that day on a tile with soaked clothes. Before morning, if you see my skin, it was very rough.
Wow. So
that was the first day.
So how did this kind of stuff, did it stop, or they were doing it, for several days during the entirety of your detention?
No, it was just that first day.
Okay.
So that was that
they left
with that type of torture. Then it became different type of torture. They went from what you eat to how you go psychologically. You cannot be stable because they feed us 2 meals per day. I don't know if you are familiar with, there's this 1 liter yogurt they sell. I think Rufaida, if you know it, I don't know.
That's what they call it.
So I'm just trying to.
Is it about the size of the one they serve on the aircraft?
No, the size of the container they use for the food.
Like a blue band, like an average blue band container.
Okay. Yes. So they give you like one third of that.
For your breakfast, or?
I don't know if it's breakfast or lunch, but they bring it normally around 11 to 1.
And that will be your first meal?
That will be your first meal. Then you have 1 wrap of swallow, either 2 eba, anything swallow, which is also no more than this size. And that's what I ate for
those over 60 days.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, the important thing is that we want the government, to understand, to realize what had happened. Because I have worked in government and I know that it's possible that even people at the helm of affairs may not even have an idea of some of these things. And that's why it's important to bring your story out. Because you have a president who is, who has a long record as a Democrat. And that's why we felt that it's important for your story to be told. So, are you aware that the president on October 1st, gave a speech where he proposed, incidentally, you were still in detention at that October 1st, where he proposed as a means of some kind of response to the end bad governance protest, in my view, to say that, look, let's have some kind of a national youth conference, and we want to talk to young people. Okay, so the protest happened in August, and the president came in his October speech to say, independence speech, to say that, look, let's have a youth conference. It will seem as if he's trying to reach out to young people. What do you think about that? Did you find out about that eventually?
Firstly, I'm just hearing about that just now that you mentioned.
Yeah, because you are in detention.
Yes, I was blacked out for 11 weeks. I had no contact with the outside world, no contact with my family, no contact with my legal rep, nothing. I was just in there. Like, the only thing I hear from outside is the call for prayer. That's the only outside communication I got throughout that period. So there is no way I could have gotten this information. But I think is a welcome development. But my position would be he waited too long, because this protesting could have been avoided if the intention was there. Could have been avoided because we were talking about it for some 2-3 months ahead. And if the government were serious about this thing you mentioned just now, they could have brought it forward ahead.
Yeah.
And all this could have been avoided. But then they just stood and think it's just business as usual, because that's essentially how Nigeria is run.
It's run.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of our time, we got to wrap up. We would like to stay in touch with your case, and see how it goes, especially now that the charges have been dropped. I guess maybe the question actually is to ask the lawyer, so what is the state of play now in terms of their fate? The charges have been dropped. Is this case over, or what else is happening? Mr. Wali.
Yes, thank you. The effect of their withdrawal before they called their witness is that the court obviously would discharge the defendants and strike out the case. But obviously the effect of a striking out is that they can always come back to court. They can always charge them to court where they feel like, there's a need to charge them to court. But what we are saying is simple. From their proof of evidence, from the way the charge is drafted, you see that they don't have any case. You bring 3 people. Initially, there were 19, but they amended the charge sheet, and I don't know what happened to the 16, so it was 3 of them. You bring 3 people, and you accuse them of conspiring to, assemble unlawfully. But these people never even knew each other. You don't have any evidence that shows that they knew each other. You don't have any evidence whatsoever, apart from their confessional statement where they denied all the allegations and they didn't say that they know each other. And you also speak about unlawful authority, and the law is clear that they don't need any authority. So as it stands, the reality is that they can decide to charge them to court again, but we want to believe that they wouldn't do that. In fact, it's our belief that if the government had conscience, they would naturally obey the Constitution and offer them apologies and compensation before they even decide to pursue for it. But I don't think that is going to happen. But yes, we don't expect any charge to be filed again against them, but we definitely know that they have the rights by law to refile the charge, considering the nature of the striking out. We wished that the case, had proceeded, because we looked at the proof of evidence and we felt like it would be helpful, to get the court to again re-emphasize that protest is a legal right. And it doesn't matter, by the way, whether the government came out with their communique earlier, that is the president. This is a static right. This is maybe in Puritan. Even if everything was fine in Nigeria, you have the right to come out and protest, to express yourself. You have the right to associate and to assemble. So this right must be guarded, regardless of the extraneous matters and circumstances around it. This strict right must be guarded as it is.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim Wali and Mr. Engineer Khalid Aminu. I hope that you can get yourself together and continue to be the professional that you are, and also a patriot. Hopefully we will be able to build a strong, better country. That's why we are here, and we believe that under a democratic government, led by an elected president, we will see less and less of this infringement on individual rights. So thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.